Lisa?
Here.
Herb? Here. Yep. Hillary?
Here. Here.
Carly?
Here.
Jan?
Here.
Oh,
Here. All right, let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for hands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first up is superintendent report with Carly Stone.
Good evening. Before I begin here, some of you may notice some emergency vehicles in front of the high school. Please worry, there's no reason to panic. They are running some scenario-based training this evening up on the second floor in the building. So it's expected, we were aware of it, so there's no emergency happening in the building. So I thought that would be important to share. First on the agenda this evening, I'd like to invite Gary Putt from the Knights of Columbus to please come on up.
I'm Gary Putt with the Knights of Columbus here locally in Ortonville, St. Anne Parish. Name of our council is Father Yin. And every year we have our annual Tootsie Roll Drive. And we collect money for the mentally impaired. And one of our recipients every year has been Brandon Special Education. And this year I'd like to present a check for $1,581.75. I just came from work, so I'm gonna go home and eat. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
What a fantastic organization. We tremendously appreciate their partnership. At this time, I'd like to transition the agenda to introducing to the Board of Education new hires for the 2023-2024 school year. And if we don't mind, we'll start with Mr. Ayer with his staff at Brandon Middle School.
Oh, thank you. So first I want to say we had a very successful registration today from 8 to 2:30 at BMS. So I shook a lot of hands and so that was good. I'm going to first introduce, and I forewarned them because they can talk about a little bit of their background. So first I'll start with you, Andy. Stephen, and she joins us and has had experience, and I'll just let her talk about herself real quick.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here in Brandon. This is my 18th year in education. Lots of teaching math background. I'm very, very excited to be here. I'm very excited for all the great things happening here in this district. Nice to meet everyone.
And you'll be excited about this as well. Our next person that is joining us with experience in intervention is joining us in our math lab. It's Kate.
Hi, I'm coming from Avondale, and so this is my 13th year of teaching, and I'll be the math interventionist at BMS, so I'm super excited. And I live in the community, so I'm really excited for the really short video.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure this afternoon, or this evening, to introduce several folks from Brandon High School. I'd first like to introduce who is not a stranger to the high school, Mr. Mason DePatti. If you could please introduce yourself to the crew.
hello, my name is Mason DePatti. I am new to education, but I have previous experience in welding. I'm the new welding and CAD teacher along with the CTE coordinator. I look forward to it. I was here last year as a parapro for woodshop. It went great. I love teaching. I love welding. And I look forward to it for my career. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, if we could please then introduce Linda Elam.
Hello, I'm Linda Eland. This is my 22nd year in education and counselor. Fortunate that I knew Carly a few years ago, and I'm just excited to be a part of the team there. Thank you.
All right, and Elizabeth Rawlings, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
My name is Elizabeth Rawling. I am coming from Mount Morris Middle School where I did about 5 years and some change. Before that, I was at International Academy as a PE teacher. So I'm coming to the high school as a STEM coordinator. And I'm very excited. I'm actually bringing one of my own students with me, like one of my children. So I will keep one out of the 4, but I'm working on the rest. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're very excited. As you can see, we've got a great mixture of personality. A lot of people loyal Blackhawks and a lot of experience coming to the table. So very excited. Thank you for coming this evening. All right. And then the next item on the agenda this evening is a bond update. And I believe Brian just snuck in. There he is. Brian was literally coming from the football field. So really appreciate your meeting us.
Okay, Rich from Woolgas is on virtually with us tonight too. We both have some slides to show you, some photographs and things in progress. We're all working feverishly to get things completed as we're down the home stretch here. So I'll go first with a little update. Is this me, Maria? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
you'll need to turn it on. And
Got it.
let me get you going here.
There we go. So another quick design update. You've seen this before. We're still working on, for the middle school, we've got the classroom corridor flooring replacement for next summer. We did meet with the new principal, walk the building, the corridors, the classrooms, decided where new flooring would go and what flooring was in good shape that could stay. Exterior door replacement will happen. There's still some old doors. Roof replacement, we can still get another year out of that at least, so we're going to table that until summer of 25, along with the mechanical rooftop compressor replacement. We still have a lot of investigation to do on the units that are up there, what we can salvage, and maybe not have to replace all of the units that cost more money, so they're trying to be economically responsible. So we're going to delay that also to 25. We don't have a need to do that. Nothing is broken, or it's still functioning. It's just a matter of it's the refrigerant that they don't make anymore that we have to worry about. So when they do go down, we don't have the materials to fix it. So it's one of those types of things. So we're going to move that off to 25, summer 25 as well. High school exterior door replacement, the full scoreboard timing system. We bid that last summer, but did not get any bids. So we're going to rebid that scope. And then the metal roof over the pool, that'll be stripped down to the deck and then replaced with new insulation, so forth. Part of that work is we have to go underneath and scrape the metal deck underneath and then spray that with a paint that also acts as an air infiltration barrier as well as just paint. So we'll be timing that next summer when they drain the pool and put the new ductwork up. So that'll all happen next summer. It won't be touching it until next summer. So we're trying to limit the time that the pool is actually down on service. That'll be next summer, 24. Parking lot construction, 2 projects for next summer, the Harvey Swanson redesign, and then the Goodland Drive connector between the high school and middle school. Those will be the big projects for the paving for next summer, 24. Bid schedule, so we're again working on wrapping those up. I'll be working with Rich to create the bid packages in the next few weeks after school's open, and then we'll be bidding that out in October to beat the rush. So we'll hopefully have all the awards before Christmas time, and then we can hit the ground running after January with submittals and things like that, ordering materials, so we get ahead of the game. Got some pictures here. Before I turn over to Rich, he's got a more detailed construction update, but wanted to put some nice pictures up here. There's a field there. They're still working. Obviously, I was just over there. There's a little close up of the new pocket in the field. And then the end zones with the lettering cut in. So right now they're finishing their cuts and sewing in the yard markers. And then tomorrow they'll be putting in what we call the rubber crumb, which is the ground up rubber that helps the blades stand up to foot traffic and so forth. So they'll be doing that tomorrow. First game is Wednesday, and we're on track to get that all set and ready to go. This is a project that, inside the gym, these are the new bleachers you can see, but there's also painting that was done. Anyone wants to comment on that, but we painted the ceiling, the ductwork, and the walls, and then that's a new graphic that was put there by the painter. He did it by hand, right? He just kind of, it was just fantastic, so. And then those are the new bleachers there, and they're folded up position on the one side. Here's the bleachers on the other side, which is in 2 pieces, and then there's the picture on the lower right when they're extended. So we're in full compliance with ADA and building code for safety, handrails up the main aisles, as you can see, guardrails on the ends, and then ADA seating at the very bottom. So now you're in full compliance with any code that's currently in place right now. Some outside stuff on the left is the pier at the main entrance was replaced and washed. And then the back side, it's complete now. We replaced the deteriorated brick on the bottom, added a gutter along the top to catch the water, so we won't have that deterioration anymore of the water coming off of that metal roof. You see the new concrete there, so the downspouts actually take the water underneath the ground and connect to a storm sewer, so there won't be any ice pile up in the back, which was a big problem with the water coming off the roof and freezing right in front of those doors. So we've eliminated that. Incidentally, the dust collector will be moved in place Friday and re-hooked up. So at the start of school, we'll have the dust collector back up and running. On the left is the screen wall that the pool air unit will go inside of next year. That's completed now. On the right is the walkway that was put in. This is over at the middle school off the main parking lot, which turns and heads back towards the field and wraps around the building. And there's the new door that was put in at the very end, which will allow people to go in to the hallway of the iTech Center and use the restroom facilities during a game for practices and so forth. So the school has control over opening the doors so people can go in and actually use the restroom facility when they're watching a soccer game or a baseball game. And then there's the iTech off way in the distance. You see the plates in the ground. So the electrical and the data is in place in the ground. On the right-hand side is the stone bed for the dugouts. They'll be coming next week. Your prefabricated dugouts will be coming on the back of a semi-trailer. A large crane will lift them up and place them in their spots. Back in the distance, you see a little white guy back there. He's actually the left there. That's the bleacher pad and press box pad. The bleachers are about 85% assembled right now, and we're waiting on the press box. They'll come also with the dugouts next week. Again, it's a prefabricated unit as well. And on the right-hand side are the posts for the new scoreboard, which will be on the left field fence line. So we're just waiting for the scoreboard. The uprights are in place. Tennis courts are redone. A lot of crack filling and repair that was done on all 8 courts. And then the new surface was put down on all 8 courts, and the far right courts, the 2 far courts on the right, you can see like the light blue line, those are also striped for pickleball. So we have 8 pickleball courts as well as the 8 tennis courts. And this guy was spruced up here. And then switching over to Harvey Swanson. So this is the pictures of the corridor flooring. See the lockers were painted, and we've got new accent colors in the blue, and then the new, it looks like wood, but it's actually a vinyl tile floor. And then the graphic to the left is where the corridors make a T and you turn direction. We've got an accent in the floor that we use the accent colors that match the lockers, the walls, and the wall paint. Here's some more pictures looking down the hallway. You see the new accent, the blue accents. There's a new door on the left-hand side there that they're putting in place. All classroom doors were replaced. If you remember, we eliminated the glass in all the doors. You have the security keyhole, so when lockdown situation, anyone inside the room can look out, but no one in the hallway can look in. And then here's another picture on the left of a classroom that's ready to go for furniture. New cabinets were installed, new flooring, and then new carpets down in some of the office areas. Furniture has been delivered. Some of the deliveries are started. So there's, I think on the very very far east side, they have desks, it's assembled and in place in a couple of classrooms. And the rest of the stuff is in the hallway, it looks like a bottom one off in there. But there's 15 more semis coming with, as I stated before, there's over 2,000 pieces of individual furniture that are coming. So we just got the first shipment today, but they already have desks assembled in place, so we're working feverishly to get that ready to go. I think that's my pictures I have. Any questions for me before I turn over to Rich?
No, it's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, Rich, you're up.
All right, am I gonna be able to use the same presentation or do I have to pull my own up?
Maria's gonna pull your slideshow up.
All right, let me figure out how to do this on here. You guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm not as fancy as Brian as a photographer. We got a lot of the same pictures though. So just an update from the high school. As Brian said in his presentation, the screen wall dehumidifier area is almost done. We just have some pea gravel to put back in there, site restoration, some cleanup, and then the gas line goes in next week. And then we're going to be done until next summer. We did decide not to cut the louvers into the wall in the pool area because it would have been too expensive for the district to heat and cool that area, we believed. And then also to avoid any type of weather situation because we would have had to put temporary blocking in and wood. So we decided to just hold off until the actual humidifiers here. The pool room, everything's done except we're waiting for the arrival of the infrared system. That should arrive this week and be installed towards the end of the week or early next week. And then we'll be done with the pool room work until next summer. Middle school and ball fields. So sidewalks poured, dugout press box poured. The press box coming Thursday. And then the bleachers already started to be installed, as Brian said. They should be done by tomorrow. Dugouts are arriving on 8/28. All the electrical, everything's there. Once those dugouts are in, it should move pretty quickly with any additional or residual concrete work and cleanup. And we should be done pretty quick. Football field infill, cleanup, fencing repair. They're supposed to be done by the end of work tomorrow. We've ran into a lot of, obviously in the last few weeks, it's been rain, but they're still okay. I talked to the CEO of AstroTurf today. He's assured me that as long as there's no lightning or type of or torrential downpour tomorrow or today, we should be okay on finishing on time. Brian did go out there. We did give the guys access to lights so they can work at night. We do know how important football is here in Brandon, and we think that you guys are going to have to play. You're going to play your varsity game Wednesday, and everything will be good. Just a little note here, track surface starting soon. It should be 100% by 9/20. We were supposed to actually start spraying the track on the 18th. We decided against it, A, because of weather, and B, we did not want to interfere with the AstroTurf installation. Just a quick look at the schedule. So this is the rebid schedule, the bid schedule for the track, as everybody knows. I'm assuming everybody knows that we had to install asphalt track. We got that done in time, actually 2 days ahead of time. Never mind my colors. These are just colors I do when I'm talking with the contractors to kind of reiterate things. But again, they're supposed to be finished by the end of the day on the 22nd. They're going to be there at the witching hour finishing up. Track spray. We should still be on schedule. We're working with between football games and weeks and homecoming and stuff like that. We're working on ensuring that we get that sprayed at the appropriate time, so that way we can hit our 9/20 schedule. Said all in all, I'm happy with the installation. We've had a couple issues with, I'll say, job site cleanliness with AstroTurf this year. I have a follow-up meeting with them after the job's done, just done some needs improvement stuff. And we'll go from there. Harvey Swanson demolition. So demolition's all completed. There was a lot of damage done during the demolition process, and they've almost got their punch list completed at no cost. There's a couple straggler items that they're going to be working on this week to finish. Flooring, we did have a lot of flooring changes, everybody's aware. We're working nights and weekend to hit schedules. Classroom and cafe are priority. Brian was in there today. They moved along even quick since this morning. Looking at Brian's pictures, they've laid a lot of floor even today. Doors, all but 3 doors are hung. We are waiting hardware installation to be completed by 8/23. We do have a fire marshal inspection scheduled for Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. I talked with the owner of City Contracting today, as well as Tanner Supply, who's supplying all the door hardware for City Contracting, and they have assured me they will be done by Wednesday early afternoon. So we should be all set. They are sending a big crew there tomorrow to tack it. Roofing, all roofing is done except the coping. That's later this week, and that's because the facade has to be installed on the entrances before we can put the coping up. That should be going up and being finished this week. General furniture arrival was expected they already started putting furniture in. There's another moving crew coming on Monday. I have reiterated with Wolgast on-site staff to help with the furniture and do care on installing it. I've been on many flooring projects where the furniture guys come in and they start scratching, and so we're going to do our best to try to help manage through that. And then I'll also talk with Mark tomorrow. Painting is pretty much done. There's a few door frames they have to touch and some touch-up paint. I'm not expecting any delays there. And, you know, Brian, again, is a much more crisp photographer than myself. But these are just some things that I took pictures of today. As you can see, I picked the uglier ones to show. So I apologize about that. Here's the media center. And Carly, I got a phone call from Carly earlier. We're pushing on these guys to get some of this stuff done, like the media center and cafe, which is why I put them on priority on the other slide there. And with that, that's pretty much all I got. Does anybody have any questions or things they want to chat about?
No, thank you so much. We really appreciate all your hard work with this.
Well, I appreciate you guys. It's been a fun project thus far. Let's try to finish it with a strong green check mark.
I like it. Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brian. So next on the agenda is public comments and questions on agenda business. Okay, so comments on items aside from agenda business go for citizens comment at the end. So we'll take these public comments at the end of the meeting. So for now, we need approval of consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
Please, the Brandon Board of Education approve the consent agenda as presented.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Irvin. Yes. Lisa,
Yes.
Hillary,
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes. Sorry, we're short 2 numbers, so waiting for people. Okay, information and discussion items, board report. So Hillary has a couple things to share for her board update.
I just wanted to share that I was glad to have the opportunity to take 4 virtual board courses this summer. Community relations, and labor relations, navigating the legislative process, and data-informed decision-making. And so with those 4 courses, I was able to receive my level 1 board member certification as well as my level 2 award of merit. And it's just nice to be able to brush up on some of the topics and information and also learn a lot of new things.
I appreciate Hillary doing that. I know, it's just really inspiring, I think that's awesome you did that. Thank you, Hillary. And then next item, curriculum report with Coy Stewart.
Thank you. So I get the honor to welcome Gwen Stein back. She's going to share with us about a little over a year ago in the spring. She was here to talk about her new initiative to bring some choice books to the ELA courses that she teaches at Brandon High School. And she's come with us tonight to share some of her results that are pretty exciting. So I'm not going to steal any of her thunder or share all of the good stuff.
Hi. Yes, I came here about a year and a half ago maybe now, and we but we started this process I feel like 2.5 years ago, where another English teacher and I just started reading and reading and reading a lot of books, and then talking with a lot of schools around the area and open schools, and trying to figure out like what are some really great books that we can bring to the students at Brandon. So I wanted to give you guys an update because you did approve those books. We were able to teach them last year. And so just give you a kind of an update on how it went. Do I do this?
Yes. The arrow to the right, is it turned on the side when there's an on off button? There you go.
So just as a reminder, with your help, we were able to buy copies of the following books. These were, we focused in on English 11, and these were the 6 books that kids were able to choose from. Students only chose one book to read. They got into groups and read the books. And so here's how it went. So prior to reading these novels, we asked the kids, do you normally read the books that are given to you in class, the books that are assigned? So To Kill a Mockingbird and Lord of the Flies, and how do you normally read them? And they said about 70% said yes. I'm like, well, actually that's not bad, okay, we'll take it. But we asked students afterward, after we introduced these books, we let them have some choice. They picked one that they liked, and then we asked them, did you read the whole book for this unit of study? And it went up to 87%. I think that's a pretty significant growth. I even made a slide for it. Full book reading was 17.2%, which was wonderful. Here's what the slides don't show, is that when we read To Kill a Mockingbird, when we read Lord of the Flies, or Fahrenheit 451, teachers are often doing a lot of the reading. We're reading out loud, we're listening to audio. With these books, we sat students, you are now in a group that also chose the same book, The Serpent King, and they had to read the book. There were 6 books being read, and they read them. So it wasn't me reading it out loud. We did, in certain cases, with the help of the special education department, buy some audio books for any student who needed it. So that was helpful to many. But even that was led by them. They hit play, they stopped, they kept going. So I think that this is a wonderful statistic, but there's a lot more behind it that really shows these kids were reading on their own. And I love that. So we also asked students before we gave these books out to them, do you like the books that you're reading in class? Do you like the books that you're being told to read? Again, over on the right, those are the novels that are being taught. And I did put the dates of the novels. So To Kill a Mockingbird was 1960, Frankenstein was 1818, Lord of the Flies, 1954, Animal Farm, 45, Mice and Men, 37, Something Wicked This Way Comes, 1962, Fahrenheit 451, 1953, and Night, 1956. So, do you like these books? Well, we asked them, we kind of said, all right, what is our standard of what they like? We said, well, the top 20%, who falls in the top 20%? 31% of kids essentially fell in that area. They like the books. Now that's not very impressive. How much did you enjoy this new novel? 44%. A pretty big jump. So, book enjoyment, again, gets its own slide. It increased by 13%. We want kids to read the book, yes, but we want them to enjoy it and enjoy school and enjoy reading. So giving them choice, I think, helped a great deal with that. And so we asked the students, so what do you think in comparison to previous years? Previous novels that you've read for class, did you like this better? Did you like it was about the same? 67% said they liked this reading better than other readings. And so while it did jump and they had an increase in enjoyment, they liked it better than what they've been doing in the past. And so I wanted to also give you some of their own words. We asked the students to explain to us, what do they think of these books? And so here's just some of the things that they said. I love one of the middle ones. It made me think that there is still hope with finding books like this one the next time I'm looking for a book. It seemed more relevant and not from a long time ago. The book was always keeping me hooked, had me feeling engaged. It inspired me to judge less and to respect others more, no matter who they are or what they look like. I finally found a book that was easy to read and actually kept me locked in, rather than other books I don't find interesting. And you can read some of the other comments, but it was really nice to go, we asked this in a Google form, and just going down the spreadsheet of all of the wonderful comments was really, really nice to see. So, thank you. Carly Stone, especially, you were such a big support, but the school board, thank you. It is a wonderful thing to see them enjoying what we're doing, and it just is something we hope to do in other grades as well. So this wouldn't be happening without your support, so thank you.
And it's always nice to hear how this plays out in the classroom and what the kids think of it. So thank you so much for that presentation. It was really nice.
Absolutely.
And then finance report with Janet. Okay, we can move to action items. Approval of human resource reports. Can I get a motion?
Move the Brandon Board of Education approve the human resource report as presented.
Any discussion? Can I get a roll call vote?
Lisa,
Yes.
Hillary,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes. Approval of HSE gym paint project. Can I get a motion? Or, yes.
Move the Brandon Board of Education approve the HSE gym paint project in the amount of $22,834 as presented.
Any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion? Roll call vote?
Herb, yes. Lisa,
Yes.
Hillary,
Yes.
yes. Rebecca,
Yes. All right, next is citizen input. Did everybody, we've got a 2-page here, it's been a while. Did anybody come in that, oh, okay, she's getting another one. Okay, so before we start citizen comments, I'm just going to read what our practice is as a board. Practice participation at board meetings. The Brandon Board of Education recognizes the value of public comments and the importance of expressing yourselves to us on district matters. The public guidelines are as follows. In person, you must sign in with your name, email address, or phone number, home address, group affiliation, if any, and the topic you are going to speak on. And these are the sign-in sheets virtually, participating virtually, then you raise your hand. In the Zoom webinar control box with your name, contact email, phone number, and indicate the topic you are wanting to speak on. We just ask when addressing the board, please recognize yourself by stating your name. Each statement shall be limited to 3 minutes. You can only speak once. The statement shall be directed at the board only. Generally, the board will not respond to public comments during the meeting. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by your comments. To ensure due process and respect of individual rights, the district maintains a formal process for handling complaints against individuals. A problem involving an individual of specific incident is best handled through administrative channels. Such matters should be reduced to writing and sent to the superintendent or the board president. While it is not our intent to stifle public comments, speakers should be aware that if your statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, you may be held legally responsible. If you are unsure of the legal ramifications of what you are about to say, we urge you to consult first with your legal advisor. The board wants to hear what people have to say. We expect each speaker will model for our students and others in the audience and how we can respectfully disagree with others, views or voice an opinion or ask questions. So with that, I will go down the list, and if you could state your name, if you want to come up and stand at the podium, you're more than welcome, and I will have 3-minute timers going. So the first person I have on the list is Gwen Harris.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I am Gwen Harris, affectionately referred to by most of the students, so the students that know me, as Granny or Mama G or Granny G. Today, I apologize first of all for not coming last month. My brother and his fiance were both killed by a semi truck in Alabama, so I was dealing with that and couldn't make it. I wanted to be here, but I couldn't make it. But today, I basically want to address again the issue that I brought up 2 months ago. No one has reached out to me or my daughter regarding the racial inequality in the schools and some of the specific incidents that I mentioned. No one reached out to either of us, and I was kind of upset about that. This week, I had some members of the school districts on the school boards. I won't name them, but they reached out to me and they say, "You're wasting your time, my daughter. Brandon is not going to do anything." And I said, I beg to differ. I said, I've been in the school district over 15 years. And I say, I'm a very optimistic person. I believe in change, especially for the positive. And I applaud you for what you said a few minutes ago. I'm not here to defame anybody. I'm not here to downplay anybody. I'm not here to criticize anybody. I'm basically here for us to make the community better. That's my only purpose. That's my only intent. That's my only purpose. I'm 73 years old. I don't have time to play games with anybody. I'm not intimidated by anybody. And I don't have time to intimidate everybody. But I am here to help try to make a greater change in the school district for the better. Now, one incident happened just a little while ago before I came here. My granddaughter's out there, she refused to come in. She's on the football team. Well, now she says she's getting off of it. She didn't like what happened. But we'll deal with that when we get home. But so things are still happening, and it needs to be some changes. We need to not close our eyes. We need to, come to the reality that, hey, some people just not as nice as we are. And we can't change them, but we can change ourselves and change certain things around. And so that's one of the things I really want you guys to try to reach out to us. I understand that there is a little vigilante group that's going around. I'm not part of that vigilante group. Even though my color might not be your color, I'm not part of the vigilante group. I believe in fair I believe in doing things that are right and doing things that's gonna benefit the whole. So that's all I have to say. I have a granddaughter around here, wants me to get home, but look, I'm here for you guys, and I hope you're here for us.
Thank you.
And love you guys. Randy G, sign out. I didn't even. I'm coming.
Okay. Yes. So the next person we have for public comments, I'm having a hard time reading the name. The last name at the.
Schmidt.
I'm so sorry.
That's right.
If you could just state your name, address, and what was your, yes.
Good evening. My name is Ann Schmidt. I'm a 30-year resident of Brandon Township, and I'm on the steering committee for the Great Lakes Pickleball Association, LLC. My hope is that this school board chooses to be a visionary body that supports and promotes multi-generational activities within the district and beyond. My hope is that the school board works with fiduciary discretion with taxpayer monies and bond monies. My hope is that the school board chooses building and repurposing over wasteful destruction of viable infrastructure that can be put to school and community use. In your strategic plan, you have a item called Brandon 2025 Refresh. Under target number 2, you state, through participation in Brandon's many learning opportunities beyond the traditional school day, Brandon students will develop as well-rounded human beings. Your subpoint being that these opportunities may include interscholastic athletics, performing arts, service organizations, school clubs, continuing education programs, enrichment activities, involvement in community-based athletics, job-related training, or other organized learning opportunities beyond the traditional school day. In that same area, you have pathways to success. Number 2, your goal number 1 is relationships. All Brandon school districts will have positive, meaningful relationships with peer, staff, and the community. And if I tie that into the Oakland Press article regarding the appointment of the new school superintendent, Carly Stone, where she states, and I quote, "One of my first priorities is to build relationships with local township leadership, community organization leadership, and the district's parent community. I am looking forward to the opportunity to learn about our district's strengths and opportunities through their eyes and partnering with each group for exciting future endeavors." End quote. I am talking about the tennis courts at Harvey Swanson Elementary, and I am asking you as a school board to choose to be visionary and a part of the fastest growing sport that is a multi-generational physical and mental activity that the whole community can be involved in. I am asking you to choose to be an example of bringing new and innovative activities to our community that not only promote physical health and well-being, but potential economic opportunities for our local business. I hope you choose to work with the community in addressing all concerns regarding our proposal to repurpose the Harvey Swanson Elementary campus tennis courts to district and community pickleball courts. We all know the easy path is to say no and shut the door. We're asking this school board to be true to their words, be proactive, visionary, and involved in community growth and development.
Thank you. Judy Houghton. Okay. 210. Sorry about that. Okay.
I am a parent in the district and I had an incident in December with my son. I just want to make sure that the middle school has all the cameras in place that they should have in place. Since during that incident, there were 2 classroom doors that had no camera coverage at all. That's what we were told. So we couldn't even see what happened in that area or the other area, and the other area also chopped everybody's heads off. So when you saw the camera angle, unless you knew what shoes they were wearing or what pants they were wearing, you had no idea who was actually going into that room. And that would be the resource room down by the special education rooms. The other one was Ms. Bernia's room up on the upstairs floor. So those just need better coverage so that you can see everything that happens with those. And the other is special education. Being that I have a child with an IEP, once you leave like elementary, nobody seems to know what your kid's IEP is all about. teachers do not have it at the ready for them. So they cannot be successful, so that our students can be successful, because they cannot teach in an effective way if they don't have that IEP in front of them at all times. I've been told it's too difficult to get everybody that access, but that really, our special education students are pretty important. They are just as important as your STEM students. They may not give you the greatest test scores in the world, but they definitely deserve to have a great education, and our teachers cannot do it if they don't have the necessary tools in front of them to be effective and successful. So I'm hoping that with my child moving on to a different school this year and going into the high school, it was a lot different when he did a little transition period. So they seem to be on it and had his behavior plan in place. Everybody was trained on it. And that should be the case in every single building, even if it's your security guards. They should also know how to handle them properly, so that when events come up, that they don't escalate unnecessarily, because things happen and it's not fair to our children to have to go through what mine has gone through. So 4 more years, 4 more years. And we've seen a lot of change with personnel and everything, and I'm just hoping that is a big thing for me. I really want you to have the tools to do your job. If I said to my staff, I run a blood bank. If I said to them, you know what, don't read that policy or that procedure, wing it, patients would die. So I am a stickler for things that are done properly. That's just how I am. You don't draw a specimen right, I'm chucking it in the garbage and you're starting over. So you have to have the tools to do your job at all times. I keep my staff Jolly Ranchers too, so I gotta keep them going at all times. Snacks and Jolly Ranchers, they keep us going all day when we're getting yelled at, but those are the things that an IEP, please have them for all your teachers.
Thank you. Next is Min
Shank.
All right,
Max the game. I've lived here over 55 years. I taught here 32 years and I tutored for 17. I tutored for free. But what I'm here for is the tennis courts at Harvey Swanson. If you destroy those tennis courts, that's probably, with the lights and everything else, over $500,000 worth of infrastructure. And it's going to cost about $100,000 to get rid of it. But as you know, we have sewers coming. Maybe not in Roland Township, I pray, but they're going to be sewers. That means the lots don't have to be 2.5 acres. They can be much smaller. That means more people are going to come in, which means more kids. If you eventually get rid of the present infrastructure for $100,000, and let's say 5-10 years later, you put it in a parking lot, is it going to cost $500,000? Probably a lot more. Turn it into pickleball courts. Let the kids use them, the elementary kids. And it wouldn't take much because it's pretty level. There aren't a lot of low spots. Yeah, there's a lot of cracks in it, but that could be taken care of. And when you think about it, the infrastructure is so valuable. Why destroy it? And as you know, we have a swim team that has Groveland in it. Goodrich and Brandon. Maybe pickleball is getting very popular. Maybe they will have pickleball in the high school, that the kids will have a team of it. Let's invite Goodrich to join us. Why not? Like we do with pool. And by the way, I will probably never use the pickleball courts because of my shoulders. So I'm not advocating it for my own personal need. It's just keep that infrastructure. It is so valuable. To replace it would cost so much more. Auf Wiedersehen.
thank you. All right, next up is Jenny
Sevigny. I'm a long-term resident of the community, 2+ years, as long as Brandon High School graduate, former school board member, although it was decades ago. But from that experience, I have to say, thank you for your service. I know that it's often a thankless job, and you're not here for the pay. But you're here because you care about the community and you care about the students in this district, so thank you. I too support the repurposing of the tennis courts over at Harvey Swanson and the pickleball courts. It does seem just so shameful to spend money to tear out that existing infrastructure when that money can be spent to repurpose it into something that would be of benefit to the students and the community. So I'm hoping that this administration and the school board will work with the community to try to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave Wilson?
I wrote mine down, so I.
All right, Dave.
I put glasses on, I apologize, I can't see. So my name's Dave Wilson. So friendly with all of you, I know you all now, I feel like. I'm a brand new graduate also, more than 55 years in the community as well. First of all, I want to thank you for your time and for your service for the community. I know from personal experience that community service is a very tough job. It's often bringing undeserved criticism, sometimes personal defamation. Part of the reasons why it's a tough job is the fact that you make decisions that affect the community. The community can be tough, quick to criticize, especially when you don't know all the facts. So here again are some of the key points to consider in your decision regarding repurposing and demolishing the Harvey Swanson tennis courts. First, as student safety is paramount in your decision, repurposing the unused tennis courts dovetails with the Harvey Swanson construction plans to separate parent car and school bus traffic and include separate parking that is completely fenced and secure from Harvey Swanson. It's financially responsible, making use of existing infrastructure already in place, the fencing, the lighting, court surface, storage buildings, bleachers, worth conservatively $900,000 that would have to be purchased and constructed if the courts were located anywhere else in the community. And the cost to repurpose the existing court surface is significantly less than new construction, can be accomplished by placing sport court tile over the existing asphalt for less than $100,000. It's business friendly. It brings people closer to the heart of the community where they are more likely to linger and potentially stop on their way home, a local restaurant or a grocery store or another local business bringing revenue to the community. There's also potential to generate revenue for the community by hosting tournaments close to downtown, similarly to the baseball tournaments held at Sherman Park each summer that brings people into the village. And finally, it would help the community by allowing the township to spread our tax dollars further, shifting funds that would have been spent on courts at Brandon Township Community Park at a significantly higher cost to other amenities and allow other amenities at the park, such as potential hockey rinks, playground equipment, baseball fields, or anything else that someone could think of. So again, please consider these points in making your decision. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Next, Beth Marshall.
I'm Beth Marshall. I work at Brandon Preschool. I have 3 kids in the district and I'm against the pickleball courts at Harvey Swanson. For safety purposes, they talk about fixing and repair. Where does that money even come from? Why are we taking it from the kids? I'd rather see it in the schools. There's lots of stuff that it can be used for. Who's gonna pay for the lights? Liability. The high school got 8 new courts. Why isn't that enough? Why do they need Harvey Swanson? I would rather see the track at Harvey Swanson fixed before pickleball courts put in. Another thing I looked up, I think this is a city council matter, but there is something called a Spartan grant. And in Flushing, Michigan, they got a new pickleball court and stuff in their community. That was all done through Parks and Rec. So there is grants out there that people can look into. I just think we should leave the schools alone and save the money for the kids. Okay.
Rachel Stringle.
Hello, my name is Rachel Sprinkle. I work at Harvey in the preschool, and so I see the traffic and the problem with our parking lot firsthand every day. it's so dangerous for our kids. There's lots of traffic. It takes a while for the parents to get through, and I feel like we need to use those courts for our district and for our kids and to keep the parking lot safe for the kids. And like Beth said, who is gonna pay for the upkeep of this? We do have courts downtown and the 8 courts here as well, so I feel like it would not be a good choice for the board to vote for it.
Thank you. B.
Abel Tajo. I've been a community member for 45 years. I've also been an educator for most of my life as a director in Waterford schools. And one of the things that we always worked with the board was that we're a womb to tomb organization. That education isn't just K-12. It starts with as soon as that child enters the world and through adulthood, as far as they can go, and we want to make sure that all those possibilities are there for everyone. As far as what we're talking about with pickleball courts or tennis courts or whatever, these are all things that would be not only used by the community, but could be part of the curriculum. There is a, help with your words. We've done major investigation themselves. The group that is here has some proposals that would alleviate some of the concerns with parking, with traffic, and can keep all that isolated during the time when school is in session. But it would also be an opportunity for students to learn a new sport, to participate in a sport that isn't required that you have to be 6 foot tall or you have to be on a 40 in a certain time. The little kid can be just as competitive as the big brute across the court. So there are things that are positive educationally for the district. They can be involved. I think with your pickleball courts here, the difference is here there's parking issues, security issues, where those can be alleviated. And I think if the board would look at what some of the planning that was there, I think it's a phone. Amber alerts. So there are things that we can do in the district to work with the district to make this a positive for everyone. And I know that's the purpose of the school board, is try to make everything work as best as they can. And I'm just, here to support and would like to be involved with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Beth, I'll touch you.
Hi, my name is Beth Papaggio. I've been a member of this community for 45 years with Dave. And I am also thank you all so much for all your hard work and efforts to make Brandon School District an outstanding school district. And I am just respectfully asking also to consider repurposing the plans for destruction of the tennis courts and the infrastructure, and to see whether pickleball courts could be a real gift for our community in many ways, for our students, for the adults, and for the businesses. And that's all I wanted to let you know. Just encouragement. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Wilson?
Evening. I'm Mary Wilson, Brandon High School graduate and retired MSU educator. My family roots in Nortonville date back 5 generations. And in keeping with my family's legacy, my desire is to see this community continue to become enriched and more viable for local businesses and community members. First of all, though, like many people, probably not enough, have said tonight, thank you. Thank you for everything you do. I completely understand the difficulty it is sometimes making decisions, especially a lot of them are controversial and can be agonizing, all while you're trying to achieve your mission and purpose. So again, thank you. Appreciate everything that you all do. I do want to address the proposal to repurpose the 8 unused Harvey Swanson Elementary tennis courts into pickleball courts. And I think this is an opportunity for Brandon School District leadership to demonstrate visionary leadership to the community. In conjunction with this opportunity, I'd also like to address why we need pickleball courts. It's not simply a consideration of more, but rather a consideration of these key points. First of all, as you've heard already, pickleball is a sport that can be enjoyed by all ages, and it's growing at an unprecedented historical rate for any sport. It's a growing community need, and there's lots of community benefits. I think about, like Dave and other people have already said something about the benefits to kids, specifically, developing strategic thinking, developing motor skills, engaging in physical activity, development of social skills, the benefit to the local economy, which has already been addressed. But it's also an invaluable way to engage community taxpayers who continue to support Brandon schools despite not having any kids in the district. Another key point is it's the opportunity with these courts to create a safe play space for the community. And for that, I have to expand a little bit on this. As you know, the school graciously had 2 tennis courts striped for 8 pickleball courts. Unfortunately, the contractor striped them too close together for safe play. The USA Pickleball Association recommends a minimum of 8 feet between the courts. These courts were striped with 2 feet between them, and it's primarily to avoid player interference from other courts. And the contractor laid them out this way, so I don't know what can be done about that. But the third point I want to make, to echo what's already been said, is that it's important to utilize, and I think fiscally sound, prudent to utilize an existing infrastructure for the common good. Okay, and that's all I was going to say. We look forward to working with you. Thank you.
My name is Susan Pitzer, and I've been a Brandon Township resident for 70 years. Anyway, thank you, especially to Harvey Swanson principal. Jessica, is she here? Okay, oh, you're okay. Sorry. I met you, so Jessica Neville and Brandon School Administration for moving forward to correct decades long traffic safety problem at Harvey Swanson. Parking, drop-off, pickups, and commingling with bus traffic have been worrisome at the very least. Your combined vision will correct problems which have been existing since the 1960s. At that time, Harvey Swanson was my elementary and high school. The whole building was elementary and high school, which I graduated in the class of 1970. In keeping with the visionary goal, the current Board of Education and our greater Ortonville community would be well served by taking note that this same traffic and parking vision is shared by the Great Lakes Pickleball Association. In their offering, the GLPA goes even further in this proposal to repurpose Harvey Swanson tennis courts. By turning the 3 remaining north courts into parking, it would give an additional 64 spots beyond the additional that are slated for completion by 2024. Current parking is approximately 228, adding 60 with the VHS renovations plus 64 additional with the GLPA plan gives you about 352 parking spots. The remaining 4 tennis courts would still be available for repurposing into sport courts. And this will only happen if desired by the Board of Education as true community partners. Thus a win-win for both the educational and greater Ortonville community in general. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Hey, Bindi.
You're all right. Go.
My name is Faye Bindig. I am the coordinator at the Senior Center in Ortonville. I'm also, used to be a substitute teacher here at Brandon years ago when got me through college. So, I am just wanting to support the group that is trying to persuade you into making the tennis courts into pickleball courts. Yes, we do have 2 downtown that were achieved through CDBG dollars. But it was a repurpose because it previously was the skate park. And I can sit at my desk at the senior center and I can watch the intergenerational activity because you've got adults and you've got children playing the games together. And it's a wonderful game for seniors because it's a low impact, whereas tennis, seniors don't move that fast anymore. Their knees can't take it, their hips can't take it. Dave even got me on the court, so I mean, I know it's very low impact, and I just want to show my support. Hope that you guys really consider making those into pickleball courts. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla Dean.
Long-term resident. Also, I was a 26-year employee at Brandon School District, retired from years ago. My kids graduated through Brandon. I have 5 grandchildren at Harvey Swanson. And I just want to show my support also for the pickleball courts. I think some of the community is kind of misinformed. I don't know if they understand that we only want part of the courts. We don't want to take all the courts. We don't want to just, take them instead of the repaving issue that's going to go on. I've been a Brandon booster for years. I worked 4 years straight every Saturday night in a bingo hall, literally for 4 years, to raise enough money for the sports boosters to donate over $880,000 to the school district. I would be devastated to see that money just being plowed under and native to grass or, an extra, whatever you're gonna do. Because I did see some of the layout of what your plans are. And I think those courts closest to Edwards Street would be fine and beneficial for us to use. That's Thank you.
Wayne Wills. Ready, Wayne? We'll do it together.
Good evening, Board President Haynes, Superintendent Stone, members of the Brandon Board of Education. My name is Wayne Wills. I grew up in Brandon Township and I've lived in the district for 74 years. I've worn many hats in our community, having served on many boards in many leadership capacities over 5 decades. I had the distinct pleasure of serving on the Board of Education here, where you are, in the 1990s. And again, I thank you for your work, for your efforts. And the pay could be a little better. My purpose in this life is quite simple. Make the world a better place for all. Tonight I'm wearing one of my community hats. And I pose the question of you, why pickleball? Most of you have never played it. Anybody ever played it? Not a one. You might ask, why would I care? In answer to such a question, I direct you to the website entitled utopia.com. This is an educational website designed for educators such as yourself. It is funded by the George Lucas Educational Foundation, ours, which promotes, among other topics, the benefits of pickleball in the school environment. It has been found to be an inclusive, learning and educational tool for both our gen ed and our special needs elementary students. Educator Sarah Wysocki posted a piece earlier this year on January 23, and I challenge you to look for her article entitled "The Joy of Pickleball in Elementary School." I promise you will be glad you did. Again, I ask, why pickleball? On a personal note, due to a birth defect, my special needs 12-year-old grandson, Noah, will be facing a heart transplant in the next 3 to 4 years. Yet, he is very active, even after having experienced 2 open chest surgeries at Ann Arbor. Even with his repaired heart, he is very active physically. In the meantime, however, as he waits for a transplant, he is able to experience some much needed physical exercise playing pickleball, which, by the way, also gets him out from behind his electronic devices. That said, our family is very grateful and blessed for pickleball, which Noah and I play together frequently as a family. So I ask you to keep an open mind. And when you hear the topic pickleball, I think you'll be glad you did. Oh, I got a few more seconds. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dan Stevens, and all the kids who helped with the National Honor Society, with the Downtown Ortonville Development Authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Wayne, sorry. Tim? I'll do Tim and Lori.
We'll save you 3 minutes, no comment.
Oh,
6 minutes.
Bird serving.
Okay. Rich Haynes? Dwight or Eric?
Dwight.
Dwight, did you wanna? Sure.
My name is Dwight Woodbridge, and I can actually say that I am not a long-term resident, but I am a proud resident of Ortonville. I've lived around the world, but ended up here by drawing 3 circles when they hired me at GM and said, well, this is kind of centrally located. So I think Dave is putting together a pretty good plan on the pickleball. I would have to say, I think it would behoove everybody to take a good look at it. And I guess I would also encourage, after listening to everybody here, a couple of people that are against the courts, that everybody gets together to understand the pros and cons and how that should go, so that it meets everybody's expectations and doesn't become a burden to people that aren't in favor of it to begin with. And I guess I have one question, because I was on the Iron Belt bike trail, and one of the pieces of data that I came up with was the Brandon Township enrollment had been declining for several years. I was just curious if that has turned around. Enrollment has actually turned around and increasing, or it's holding flat, or what that statistic is. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane Salter?
I'm here to comment on the Harvey Swanson parking lot, and I have some knowledge and comments. One purpose of the bond money was to be used for projects that improve safety at all our buildings. The Harvey Swanson parking lot has become unsafe and must be reconfigured, so it is safe and efficient in getting very young kids in and out of that complex. The board's job is to make critical sound decisions on how to make the parking lot improvements necessary within the confines of the bond parameters. I was one of many hardworking community members who encouraged our community to support this bond. We did not once say anything about pickleball courts at Harvey Swanson as a slated project, nor any money going towards those tennis courts. We did promise Harvey Swanson improvements where Harvey Swanson will be safer. We said the money was for a redesign of the parking lot that keeps kids and people safe. Part of this is not having strangers and non-school people on school grounds during school hours and events. These courts are too close to the school building that it will deter security officials from the building if people start showing up and playing whenever. I know how Principal Hevel and her staff put countless times monitoring that parking lot where a better design will alleviate much stress. I asked the board to think about the future of Harvey Swanson complex and how it has a capacity of about 700 to 900 students. You need to consider this growth when deciding how it should be redesigned. Make sure that the lot is either big enough or has the land to expand where it is needed or as it will be needed. I caution the board about turning over any property, any of the school's property to another entity. I see so many legal issues that could arise, especially when the courts become neglected and an eyesore like they are now. Lastly, the Saturday Citizen reported some of the high school tennis courts are striped for both tennis and pickleball. Superintendent Stone, I applaud you, AD Jesse, and any of the other administrators who spent their time listening to the GLPA on how they wanted more courts or something that would resemble a complex. 8 courts pickleball use. Excellent job. You made sure their ideas were heard and made it an area accessible to them that checks off all their boxes. I am confused as to why the GLPA has not been thankful or supportive of all of you and your staff for working towards their vision of a complex type area. I'm thankful to all of you. Please stay logical on the future of the Harvey Swanson and its parking lot, and remember students first.
Carol.
Kendrick.
I'm Carol Kendrick, 6-year resident, actually just came to learn, meet, and understand our community and the schools. No children at this time old, but my husband has been out here 25 years. I don't even understand. So thank you for letting me attend, listen, learn, and grasp. And always, as everyone has said, for the jobs that you do. Because not everybody can do it, and we always appreciate it.
Thank you. Corinne?
Well, Colleen, it's just.
Oh, okay, sorry. Andrea Austin.
Hi, I'm Andrea Austin from 1335 Penn Road. I'm a 20-year resident, at least 22 years of Brandon Township. I'm a parent. I'm a volunteer in every building except for Harvey, because he's in that building. I also served on 3 different committees to get bonds passed, which the final one was the most successful one. And during my time working on the bond, I had an enormous education about how bond money works and how it doesn't work, and how legally money has to be spent the way it was written and what was voted on by the citizens. That's a tough pill to swallow when you hear, oh, there's all this money, and it sounds like it's a great idea to just throw it at this or throw it at that, but we have to spend it as the voters intended. And it's actually legally, we're legally bound to do that. So when it comes to the pickleball courts, I love pickleball. My son is a highly athletic individual in multiple varsity sports in Brandon schools. He has taken pickleball in the curriculum at Brandon High School. He loved it. He got pickleball equipment for Christmas years ago. So I love it. I love the sport. And when I heard, oh, this is great, we should do pickleball courts, I had a very Pollyanna opinion about how that would happen. Then I spent a little more time thinking about logistics, doing research, and also considering some of the facilities that are not there at Harvey Swanson, including restroom facilities. Currently, Harvey Swanson struggles with septic issues. Just having students there. There are no bathroom facilities available for pickleball. And as a resident that takes that street every day to get home, I do not want to look at a porta potty every day on my drive home. And I'm certain that the residents of Edward Street don't want to look and smell one either. So there's some things like that that are troubling to me in the idea. It breaks my heart to realize that it probably can't work, and for so many reasons, but for the primary reason that we have to package protect that parking lot for any use that the parking, the bus flow, and the safety that those students need. It must be protected. So if it can't be used for pickleball courts, it has to be salvaged for parking or a new route. That's what has to happen. Like I said, it breaks my heart to think that all these fabulous people that love this sport and are passionate about this sport can't have that, but I also, I feel that we can still work together, use the courts that have been established at the high school, use the 2 courts that are downtown. I'd love to see the efforts of this, facility to educate the community on the courts that have already been painted. Thank you.
Thank you. Alright, and that ends public comments. And that's what ends our meeting. So we are adjourned at 8:51. 7, I can't read. Sorry. Sound good?